Yo, what's good with it, man? What's up with you? I hope you having a great day today. If you're checking this out in the morning, good morning to you, afternoon, and so on like that. But anyway, man, today what I want to get into, I've been checking out this book by the name of The Games People Play by a psychologist, and his name is Eric Berne. You're welcome to check out his work. But I've been checking out this piece of work lately, along with a lot of others. But this one right here in particular has stood out to me because I feel like it has a lot of interesting themes in there that we can relate to, kind of, and take value from and learn from, just like any other work. So yeah. So what is the games people play? Uh, what Mr. Eric is talking about in this book, he's basically saying that us as humans, we all have basic needs for intimacy, and as he called it, strokes, but that's the word that I would take from it, or like. But basically what he's saying is we have a basic need for intimacy, and if we don't get it in a natural area or a natural way, then we'll go and basically get it in another way that wouldn't be so in a positive manner. You know what I'm saying? So doing something that is only to gain gratification and not help either party, basically. Okay, so let's see. So for example, people say they play the stock market game, they play the insurance game, they play like the real estate game. It's just all something that's a process in order to get to your end goal or your end gratification. So basically what he says in here is that we all have these three basic egos or selves that we take, that we play out in these games. So in these games, we can either play as a child, we can play as a parent, or we could play as an adult. And what the parent nature is just a parent nature, and just, I guess, would say, overlooking. And child nature is just the freeness and the imagination of a child, and just the compassion that a child carries. And the adult is the self that is just accepting truth, the self that let's see, like rationality, objectivity, and just, yeah, like the acceptance of truth. And yeah, so he has said in the book, he was like, let the games begin. And when two people are arguing or going at it or whatever, it's either three ways it's gonna go. One person is gonna go slam the door, the other person gonna go slam the door, or both people gonna go slam the door. As simple as that. So it's basically like that. Like, it's a game. Like, somebody would go and do that, and we've all been through stuff, you know what I'm saying? But like these things are actually done in order to gain a gratification of some sort, like to feel better about yourself just because you just slammed the door, or just because you just did that. So that's basically what he means about let the games begin. So, and another game that he talks about is, it's called If It Weren't For You. And that's like, somebody be like, if it wasn't for you, I'd be doing this, or if it wasn't for you, so and so would be doing. Nah, like, no. That's a game that people play, and I wouldn't say that people, we've all been guilty of saying that to somebody. If you haven't, then you probably lying. Let's be real. But like, realizing what you're doing is a great part, because that's how you can then change it. So yeah, man. Let's see. Another game that he has is Why Don't You and Yes But. And this is for when somebody comes to you and they want to talk about something, and they're actually trying to get across to you and talk to you. And when they come to you with a problem that they're facing, you tell them, yes, but you should so and so, or why don't you do this? So it's basically like you're playing along in the game, but you're really not even listening to them and really seeing and just having ears to hear what's really going on with them, so you can offer a real solution to actually help, instead of just like acting like you really care and just listening, and then just being like, yes, but you should do this, or basically. And that's what that game is. And the wooden leg, in this game, when people use their ailments or whatever as an excuse, as a prop. Like, yeah, that's what that wooden leg game is. So, and this is just basically just different ways that life can be looked at as a game in a sense, because wooden leg, why don't you know? Like, these are just normal everyday things that people would go through. And yeah. So each game has a thesis and an antithesis. So each game is gonna have like a purpose and a gratification that is looked to gain from it. So that's what he was talking about in that work. And I think that he mentioned it as well, how teaching kids games is important. And I feel that, because it's like, if life does have a very game like nature, if you're playing games when you're young and you're learning values about, it's all about, you should just be playing right now, right here, right now, playing the game. Like, you won't worry so much about what the end result is. Like, you won't worry so much about that, because you had so much fun during the process, that it's like, bruh, that was the fun part. And you're not trying to gain a justification, because you're justified internally and within yourself. Another reason why teaching kids games is beneficial is because they're gonna have to work with other humans and everything their whole life. So why wouldn't it benefit them to learn how to play games in order to gain a greater awareness of something else? Like, just basically like basketball, for example. Like, if you hoop, or you hooped before, you know that discipline and that drive and that hustle can carry over into other aspects of life. And I think that is why sports and stuff is very powerful, because kids can learn the game like nature and how to behave within it. And everybody has their different ways of behaving and everything, but just the natural being able to coexist. And lastly, it says, through greater awareness of ourselves and these three selves, that we can, in a sense, be more free and accept ourselves more. And another point that I like in this one, it says, through a greater awareness of these three selves, we can get back to be comfortable in our own skin. Because, I don't know if you've experienced, which I'm pretty sure you have, but when you feel like you being too critical on yourself, like you just kind of like hopping on yourself too much, like whoa, like, like when you feel like you being too analytical about something, like you feel like you being a parent, but that's not, like, it's programming. It's a program that was put into you by parents. Like, they tell you these things, and we literally like believe. That's why I think that having an awareness of these three selves is beneficial, because you can tap into your childlike nature. You can tap into your adult, you know what I'm saying? You can tap into these things and use them when they're most beneficial, instead of using them to play a game, basically. To play a game that has gratification that isn't for real intimacy. And that basically gets me to my last thing, which is, don't not substituting real intimacy for games. And that one right there is big, and I feel like we can all benefit from that practice, because just showing somebody real true love and intimacy will never equivalent to you like playing a game with them and just doing mind tricks with them, and like all of that extra stuff that's just gonna just cloud somebody's heads up, you know what I'm saying? So I really think that just real intimacy and being aware of these three selves can really benefit us. So that's why I brought this piece of work, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and shout out to Eric Berne for the work, man. Shout out to you, brother.